Well, you know what? We'll figure that out later.
We can fix it in post.
We fix everything in post, right, guys?
That's what you say when everything's going bad, right?
It's all done in post. Man, I don't know if I know how to do this. We're going to get... Wait a minute. Which one is this? Let's see what happens.
Spent some time
Finding the magic slider. Oh, we've got new equipment. Hello, everyone. Welcome to ShiftLess. I'm figuring out my buttons. Oh, there it is. It's got a keypad icon right there.
Perfect.
So if you can't tell, we're on new equipment. But, hey, it's okay. There's a really good reason that we're on new equipment. We are ShiftLess, the most dynamic podcast in the world. It's all about bicycles. Nothing but bicycles. And so professionally put together. Whoa, where did that come from? And okay, I got it. I don't know if oh man, we're really screwed here. You know why? See, I've got all these new buttons to push, and see, that one's not going to go away now. So we're going to do this a different way. Just do a quick intro of our
I'm so glad I'm not running the soundboard.
This is dress rehearsal. Who's here joining us today, Bradford?
Oh, you didn't even introduce me. Mr. Caleb, DJ Caleb is here.
We'll do that later. There we go.
So,
where's my applause? I was ready for you guys to tag me in with this madness.
I've got the applause. So
you've got so many things blinking over there.
The button set up.
Where's the Control-Alt-Delete for that thing?
Exactly.
You ever seen those YouTube videos where they hand a gorilla an iPad?
This is going to play the intro music all the way through before I can do anything else.
No way.
Yeah.
It's going to play the full track.
It's going to play the full
Hopefully it's
track.
not like a Tool song where it's 8 minutes long.
No, it's only 2 minutes and 21 seconds or something like that.
Well,
but
this is taking forever.
But I've hit the button so many times now.
You've just reset it.
So far, this is my favorite podcast, by the way. So far.
No, you can't talk yet. Nobody knows you're here. Nobody knows you're here.
I do. I'm somebody.
I'm going to explain myself. Because Kevin's got some explaining to do here.
It's going to take a while.
You need to explain what's going on right now.
We're on brand new equipment. A new turf. We are, what is this, Soul Fire Brewing?
Yeah.
We out here.
In downtown Roanoke, Texas. And so far, I approve.
Yeah.
Does this work for you guys?
Yeah, the weather's
This is cool.
weather's tremendous, too. The beers are decent, too.
The beer's not bad. And they got a kind of mini food court thing going on here. I'm thinking this might be a regular shiftless recording spot of some sort, and we're definitely going to be doing some Clubs Ministry rides from here.
And we have a huge audience.
Massive.
Huge live audience.
Man,
Did you sell tickets for this?
Oh, we sold out.
I want part of the door.
We have just enough people to be able to actually announce who's here.
See if we can make this work this time. Joining us is DJ Khaled. All right, there we go.
There it is.
You got your applause all to yourself. All right. We haven't done that in forever. We've missed you, buddy.
I know.
Yeah.
I keep saying things are going to slow down at work, and it just keeps getting worse.
And back to this new mixer of ours, this new podcast recorder. The old one kept crapping out on us, and
Mostly when I talked.
mostly when Brad talked, and it's purely non-coincidental.
Feel targeted.
But yeah, we kept getting these memory write errors, and I thought I had fixed it, and that didn't fix. And then lo and behold, we get this special live audience edition of ShiftLess Live. We can actually say ShiftLess Live now. We have an audience. Yeah, woohoo! All right. Yeah.
Man.
But I needed more inputs because we got too many people for my old podcast recorder. Joining us tonight, actually, no, that's another big change. It's an evening thing. This is weird.
It is.
We are very excited to have as our very special guests Owen and Nikki from the 1,000 Miles in a Dusty Saddle documentary, the feature film about the Rat 1000. And should we give them a round of applause as well, you think, guys?
so.
Let's see if we can make the button work. There we go.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
All right. Hey, I think we even picked that up. Which one of you guys brought the questions?
Oh, you were going to start.
Do we have emails to read? Brad, have you done a weather report, sir?
Dude, it's windy. Windy.
But not here. Our little corner here isn't too
We
shabby.
are a little guarded. The sun is just about to drop
About
behind
to
the
set
buildings.
behind the buildings.
And it feels nice. It might be jacket on weather later, though. I believe there's a cool front coming in. The high tomorrow is only 66.
Oh, boy.
Also supposed to be windy as well.
We live in a new world full
All
of
right.
wind.
It's-
Can we talk to our guests? Come on, guys.
All the wind.
Come, all the wind.
How did you guys
I'm
deal
happy
with
to
the...
chat about wind.
Yeah, when you guys were doing the documentary, like, how many scenes did you guys have to hold because of the wind? Because of,
Let's not.
I mean, wind didn't affect y'all's production at all, did it?
serious.
We were flying a gimbal off of the side of my pickup truck, off of a hydraulic arm. So it sticks out about 3 foot away from the truck.
Sure.
Yeah, wind was a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
A little bit.
Especially when you get out in West Texas and there's nothing to shelter. There's no trees, there's no terrain to break up the wind. It's just an onslaught. So I imagine, like, you guys did drone shots too. You have to be flying a pretty powerful drone to fight those kind of West Texas winds.
we only lost it maybe once or twice.
Yeah, twice, I think.
No, the wind was absolutely a thing. It became a character in the film, really.
Yeah.
Like it played a role. It started quietly
Yeah.
in the east, and the more you moved west, the more it became a thing
Yeah.
that we had to manage through production, and became a thing for the writers.
Yeah.
And then became prevalent of this needs to be shown through the film as a unexpected, like I said, unexpected character in the story.
Yeah. And it's
The
been
wind-
unexpected here lately. As much wind as we've had, it's been
Yeah.
This has been
wild.
absolutely nutty.
Yeah.
The wind not only is a character in the story or on the ride of the race, but the weather as a whole is a feature character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not just the wind; it's the heat, it's the cold, the rain. Was it a big rain here?
It was not. We
not
were
a big
really
rain here,
lucky
was it?
with that. Yeah.
Okay, not a lot of mud.
Yeah, I think it had rained maybe 2 days before, and so in the very beginning there were some puddles that we were talking about navigating, but like on the east side. But really, once we got past Paris, there was no real rain.
But talking about the wind being a character, the wind, I absolutely loved the wind from a cinematographer's point of view.
Sure.
The wind kicks up what?
Dust
Oh
makes
my-
everything golden. Yeah.
It was beautiful.
about it.
It was like we cued the gaffer team to blow in the mist filters and all of this stuff.
Nice.
It was
Nice.
It was magical.
So before we get too deep into this, before we forget, because we're taking advantage of everybody knowing each other here, can you guys introduce yourselves to the listening audience, your name and what your roles were in the film production, and just a quickie snapshot of your experience leading up to this point along those lines?
And include your favorite sandwich.
My name's Owen Jones.
We do need to
I was the director, editor, writer. We both kind of edited, wrote it. My favorite sandwich is an Italian. And, my day job is a stills photographer, stills commercial photographer, e-com, that sort of stuff. That's how Nick and I met.
Very cool.
First of all, my favorite sandwich is a Reuben.
Oh, there you
I
go.
mean,
Nice.
just a tasty sandwich.
It is a good sandwich.
I'm Nikki Simic. I was Owen's DP on this job, and a similar background, cinematographer and
Director
photographer.
of photography.
Yeah.
Director of photography is DP.
It's not a Pornhub
DP,
thing.
I say cinematographer. I like saying photographer, even
Yeah.
when I'm talking
That's
about
fair.
video. But
Yeah.
that's
hear
just
ya.
me.
Nick also did a fair amount of editing, music. We did a lot with the music,
with the
editing,
music,
and
yeah.
the sound. And to say that DP sells Nick a little short.
I am short. I can't help it.
No, he did a lot. It was a two-person project, and we each carried the load.
There will definitely be a link to the movie in the show notes in the description if anybody hasn't seen it yet. It's amazingly top notch. It's a documentary on the Rat 1000, but I want to make this perfectly clear. This was not a Spinistry production. I did not recruit you guys to put this together. If I would have written a script for what a long form commercial for my Rat 1000, this would have blown it out of the water. It's absolutely astounding because I think you guys really captured the feel of the ride itself, the flavor of what the riders are going through. How did you pull all of those experiences together like that? That's astounding.
I think that's all Owen. He has good intuition. He also comes from a cycling background.
Thank you.
That's all you, man.
Is that how you?
That was-
Is that how you guys heard about? Like, how did you? Where did the idea come from?
It was probably maybe a year before COVID. I had the idea to shoot a stills story about the race, and I had been writing a little bit of Spinistry events.
Okay.
I'd done a bikepacking trip out to Jacksboro.
Jacksboro.
That, and then a night gravel ride. And I had caught wind about the Rat through that, and at the time I was interested in shooting a National Geographic-esque stills story. And ultimately, the week that it happened, I ended up getting booked for paid work, and you know, in this line of work, we're still
Enough
photographers.
said.
Yeah.
Enough said.
So
Patient
paychecks
things.
are good things, man.
Yeah.
So it was maybe a year after COVID. I was looking for a project, and I just woke up one morning and was like, the Rat Project. That should be a documentary. And I sat on it for maybe 2-3 weeks and talked to my partner about it, and she was like, it's a great idea, and it's like, I think you should talk to Nick about it. And I didn't want to half-ass it and get halfway through and be like, you know what, I'm done. And so I was real hesitant to bring Nick into it because I didn't want to waste his time. He's got a family. But I don't know, maybe
How did you guys meet?
we met.
With photo assisting
Yeah, with
many years ago. Yeah.
So it wasn't like a creepy Craigslist.
yeah. I was like,
Miss, I need a DP.
no, we worked.
porn.
To make it weirder, we worked together.
Glad someone picked up on that.
We actually worked together shooting catalog photography. For a catalog photographer, Nick ran the computer, and I was the first assistant. We shot in that studio. We shot a lot of kids photography, kid catalog photography. And that's where we met. And this is maybe 10 or 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I shot a test, and you retouched it.
Oh, yeah.
Turned out fantastic. It's still on my portfolio. And then I wrote The Lady of the Lake,
Right.
and we shot that, and then it went nowhere. And that's my fault. And then that happened a couple more times where big projects went nowhere, and I got Nick involved. And at one point, he very validly told me, we have to do something. You can't waste my time like this.
Wasn't that harsh, was I?
I'm
can't see that.
paraphrasing.
Okay.
But
Kevin tells me that all the time.
Well,
it's a valid point. People's time is important, and if you're going to do something with something, you can bring somebody into your project, you need to finish it, and it needs to be worth their time. And so that was a real concern bringing Nick in the beginning of the documentaries. I wanted to make sure that I was 1,000%. And then once I got Nick involved, he was 1,000%. I told him what we were doing, and next thing I know, he's buying mounts for the truck, for the gimbal, and blah, blah, blah. And it's just, he's going 110,000%. It's like, all right, I'll match you, and off to the races.
Yeah.
We literally went.
But
Yeah.
that probably helped you be accountable to
Yes.
the project by having someone else there that there's some mutual responsibility there between the two of you to see it through. Whereas if it was a single person, like your photo essay, you might have put it off on the back burner, but with someone else involved, you feel obligated to make sure you push through it.
Yes, absolutely.
It's awesome.
That's the beauty of a good partnership like that. Like somebody's not up to it, the other person is. There's that balance thing. I like it.
Push each other
Yeah,
through.
push each other. And then when you're fired up, they get fired up. I like it. Yeah. Yeah.
The whole project went on like that. We would,
Yeah.
through editing, I would take it and rough out the story for 2 weeks or so. It worked out really well. Nick would be working. I would rough out the story, and then I'd get work and give it back to Nick, and you'd have a week or two without worry, and you'd focus on it, and then give it back to me. And we went back and forth on this for 8 months or so.
Yeah.
How much story writing did you feel was necessary before you just started accruing raw footage?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
I want you to answer it because he's the master of
Because
this.
theoretically, you could write as much as you want, and then the story's going to be told the way it's going to be told, if I'm thinking about it right. Because, like we mentioned earlier, weather's always a factor.
Sure.
And so if it turns into a rainy, snotty, disgusting mess, then that is the story. If you've got one person that just takes off and leaves everybody, that's part of the story. Like, you can't script for stuff like that. So when you're doing a documentary, how much story writing is necessary, I guess, is my question.
It's all on the back end.
Yeah.
Okay.
We
Do it in post, right?
it's post heavy.
It all comes back to post.
Yeah. So what I did was, while Nick was sorting out how to mount the camera to the truck or the drone and so forth, I took to Google. I knew the route through Spinach Streets.
That's okay. Keep doing that. Kevin does it all the time.
Through Kevin's route finding, I knew the route. So then I took to Google and would go through Google Maps and look for shots and locations and whatnot that would be interesting. That generated maybe 40% of the route. A lot of it was unphotographed. You'd go to the Google map and it would just be a dead end, and you look down this being like, it looks pretty, and I know in a couple miles there's a turn. And,
Yeah.
and one time Kevin told me your route finding goes with look for a little wiggle in the
Wiggles
road,
in
a
the
little,
road, yeah.
and you know that's something interesting. And so I would look for those, and even if I couldn't Google Maps to that wiggle, I would know that there's something interesting there, and so let's try to get to that spot. And then we just kind of leapfrogged the riders in the field. We started with them, and we'd go to one of the predetermined shots and wait for riders to come to us and photograph them and interview them, and then they'd ride on, and we'd leapfrog around them. And sometimes we go to the spots. Other times, gosh, there was a spot that was just totally burned out from a fire that completely unaccountable. It was one of Levi's shots. Anyway, and you can't see that, and that turned up, and it was gorgeous. I'm not sure how much of that footage ended up in the film, really.
So y'all didn't pre-drive the course or anything. You guys went out there raw dog
Blind.
and just discovered it as you went. That's a cool adventure too. It's a little risky.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
an adventure.
It's risky for you guys, like just trying to hope I come up on something cool. But
Yeah.
I think that was Owen's initial vision that attracted me to the project to begin with. His vision was, let's just go out there and shoot all that we can shoot, and we'll
Yeah.
put the story together
Yeah.
when we're done. We're
Yeah.
going to come back with days of footage. And he did. He put a story together. I don't know how he put the story together afterwards, but he did. But the vision, when he approached me, was it's like a spaghetti western. We're going to go out there, we're going to film landscapes, and the riders are going to ride through the landscapes.
Yeah.
And then
Pretty
we'll,
simple.
That's
and we'll
awesome.
see where it takes us. And it took us, and we did exactly that. But then we're there in the moment, and viscerally we're like, we got to get closer. We got to get grittier. We got to get more intense. And we just went with it. And somehow he pieced it all together afterwards. I don't know how. It was hundreds of hours of how he did that. I don't know.
How much footage were y'all collecting each day? Were you getting 6 or 8 hours or 30 minutes or how?
Oh, no, it was closer to hours a day, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
you guys are running multiple cameras too.
Yeah,
We
there's
run
that. 3 cameras.
it's probably 3 hours of 3 to 4 hours of usable footage a day, but we would shoot for 6 to 8,
Yeah.
and then
And how did you find what you wanted after all of that was done? How did you know what to look for?
I looked at all of the footage
You went through all of it again?
so many times.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I always try to have we call them in the stills industry go-bys. So it's an image that you use for the project to go by. It's your example. And so for this project, my go-by was A Sunday in Hell.
Nice. Thank you.
So you can see in that 3-act play is in that. You introduce your characters, and then you tell your story, and then you put a bookend on it. That's what I was looking for. I think a race plays very well to the 3-act play. Naivete worked out very well.
That helped with the process too.
Yeah, I didn't exactly know that, and then afterwards, that's what worked out. So yeah, you can pull all the riders and introduce them here in the first 10 minutes, the race, the riders, the wind, and everything, and then when you tell the story, which is the race, and then with the completion, and then the end is the wrap up of like how everybody felt and the bookend to it. And then
Was
that's
that the
the
most
3-hour play.
difficult part? Chapter 3?
No, putting the end on it was because everybody was really stoked to finish it, and Levi's one-liners, I couldn't have accounted for that.
Yeah.
They just really made linking everything together easy.
Yeah.
I think you got incredibly lucky with the cast of characters too.
Yes.
So you have the landscape, you have the ride, and you have the weather, the environment. That's unpredictable, but also how people are going to be on camera are going to be a little unpredictable. And I think it was such a unique, interesting cast, very unsuspecting at times. That must have been like,
And the participant narrator as well.
yeah. Like I'm not blowing. By the way, I'm sitting for our one listener. I'm sitting next to. Wait, if you're here, who's listening? Okay. You're good. So I'm sitting next to our beloved Rich Waldschmidt, who has a great part in it. Between the way you explain things, and Kevin at the bike shop explaining, and then I could listen to Steve Flushy. I could listen to him read a phone book. He almost has a Rick Rubin kind of flow, and he's got this Buddhist Zen kind of flow. But that must have been pretty cool. Like at the end of the day, you're going, "Holy shit, these guys aren't actors, but they're so authentic and real." They're not coming across as pretentious, or like they're not acting like they're experts. Like every one of them were very vulnerable at times, which makes for good drama. I don't know if drama is the right word. Tension within the conflict of finishing that event. I don't know. I'll stop talking and let you answer now.
I think to your point, it's a human element. It gives you multiple people to connect with. I think I knew we had a good cast when Roel pulled out his rosaries and started talking about that.
That was just beautiful. Yeah.
Beautiful. Chills down my spine. It was like that was when I was like, we're on to something.
1,000% authentic.
Yeah. 1,000% authentic. You can't make that. I can't write that.
And that kind of goes along with Brad. So piggyback off Brad's question about how did you write it as opposed to letting it lead yourself. Ultimately, obviously you guys are proud of it. I hope you're proud of it. Was the final product, did it meet your expectations? Did it exceed it? Was it different? At the very end, do you go, this is not exactly what I envisioned, but this is what I would prefer it to be? Because it can't start and end the same way of like how you're going to predict it to be.
It ended as close to my initial vision as I think a project like this can. It took a year and a half from beginning to end, and a project this big with this many pieces and creative input, you roll with the punches. And so you have an initial idea, and it takes on a life of its own. And you just go with it, and just as a director, your job is to take it to the finish line, and you just drive it as hard as you can, and where it ends, if it ends, is where it ends.
Did you have to have someone tell you to leave it alone, you're done, quit fucking with it? Was it you?
Your dad?
My dad.
Yes, and me.
And him, yeah.
Like
But he also had to tell me the same thing.
Like when I was learning to paint, that was one of the things that my painting teacher used to always tell me, hey, walk away and look at it.
Yeah.
You can't just keep throwing paint on and keep throwing paint on. I didn't understand what you were saying when you were saying writing the storyline. So you're saying the storyline was crafted post, right? Like after everything was shot. Because I was envisioning you like trying to write chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, like before you ever got any footage or met the characters or saw the landscape and stuff. So that's why I was like, how the hell did you do that? But it makes more sense. Like now you have all of these pieces. Let's make them fit into how we want them to be digested.
That's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
It's like the opposite of what Hollywood would do.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I mean, you go out and collect everything. You don't exactly know what you're going to
Or
get.
the opposite of what reality TV would do.
Yeah.
I was a little disappointed that there were no explosions.
Yeah.
That's in
that
the
part
next.
two?
That's part 2. Yeah.
Tropic Thunder 2.
Yeah. Even rattier.
So the finished product came out, what, 36, 38 minutes, something like that?
36.
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. Is that where you want it to be, or would you have rather had a longer version, or would you rather have a tighter version?
We had so many conversations about that. My goal was 20 minutes so that we could get it into short film festivals. But Owen kept pushing for, look, this has to be in here for this all to make sense. This has to be in there. This has to be in here. And finally, I had to just let go. And I'm glad I did let go, because 20 minutes would not have done this any justice whatsoever.
No, and 36 minutes almost doesn't do it. But
It doesn't. You're right. And
it does enough, but it still leaves you wanting more. And I think that's the best part.
Yep.
Interesting.
Instead of you just being totally satiated, oh my God, let's end this. The movie ends, and then you're still going.
Leave them wanting more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys did a really good job of not forcing too much in that time frame. If you guys said we're gonna put it between 30, I'm gonna say 36 and 40 minutes. If that was your target, you didn't go, but let's keep adding, and that's a hard thing to do, is to not. I got this one shot I want to get in, but if you just keep doing that multiple times, then you're going to turn into just a bunch of
What Brad was saying about
videos.
painting. Stop putting paint on it. Just walk away.
Yeah.
The pacing of the whole package. It's like the flow of the ride itself. It's hard. It's hard. I can't even verbalize it right now. But nothing seems like it's too much stuff, but it also doesn't seem stretched out. It seems like a very natural flow for the whole piece, going from one to the next. And me being so familiar with the route, it's like they are following the route.
Right.
They're going to be going through Henrietta next. They're going to be going through the Medicine Mounds next. The pacing of it all was really amazing. I don't know how you guys pulled that off. I'm not even going to pretend that I do anything comparable to what you guys, but I play with video stuff and editing and everything like that. And it's, oh, hey, this section works really well. And then you try to put a package together, and these other three pieces just don't fit together with all that. Beginning to end, it's a seamless flow. But correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe I'm misremembering. This is y'all's first project along these lines, or?
It's our first big project.
Big film project.
We've worked on a lot of small shorts here and there, but this was our first large endeavor.
Yeah.
Anything of this size. Yeah.
The whole shoot itself, did you guys, I assumed you planned to be out there for the full length?
10 days.
10 days?
Yeah. 1 day before, 1 day after, and 8 days in the middle.
I think initially I told you 5 days.
You did. It's all right. That's okay.
Somewhere I had caught wind of the fastest known time, which was 5 days. And I was like, surely these guys will get it done.
Oh my God! And funny how it doesn't work out that way.
Yeah. I think day 8, you looked at me, and Nick, you looked at me and said, "When are we going home? My wife is asking." I was like, I don't know. We had 3 or 4 more days after that.
Kind of, you're committed to seeing the end at that point, right?
Yeah. You're all the way out there. There's no direct line right back home. You got to finish it.
You guys mentioned festival submissions. Have y'all submitted it anywhere?
I don't think so. Have you?
I've submitted it to a few. Yeah. We've not really heard anything back.
So I had a dumb question, because would it not be like copacetic for you to pare it down to 20 minutes just so you could do that? Could you not create another edition? You're probably done jacking with it, but had you wanted to, if making it into a film festival was like top 3 buttons, could you not have pared it down to 20 minutes just to do something like that? Or you think it would have taken away from everything you did? Or you could have had the director's cut, which is the 36 minutes that we consumed.
The director's cut would have been 45 minutes.
Right.
We edited it down to those 10 minutes out. We had a lot of conversation about that. And what are we doing with this in the end? And because it was our first, I didn't want to sacrifice story for anything.
Right.
And film festivals are important. This is 2025. It's not 1980. There's a lot of ways to look at a film.
Right.
And like I said, I didn't want to sacrifice story for something that may not hold the value it once did. Is that a nice way to say that?
No, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. We entered into a couple film festivals, and while I was looking at the details, that it became prevalent that I overshot the time
Yeah.
pretty significantly.
Yeah.
A lot of festivals are like, we don't even want to look at this. It doesn't fit into our formatting. And it makes sense for what they're doing. They have to do math.
Sure. Math is hard.
Math is hard.
Math sucks, but
Yeah.
but I got it dead on 1,000 miles. But never mind.
I thought it was 1,008.
No, it's 1,000 and like a tenth or something like that.
Depends on what unit you use, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's that.
Are you using Fahrenheit or centigrade?
Kelvin.
Kelvin, baby.
I'm a Kelvin guy, obviously.
So does this make you guys want to go out and ride it?
It makes me want to go out and shoot it again.
Yeah.
That's what it makes me want to do.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Like in that,
I know some guys that would make good subjects.
but that leads me to the next great question. After doing all of that, sitting here, post everything, are there major things that you would change? Would you go about it completely different?
If there were money, it would be nice to have people to help. It would be nice
Right.
to have an audio guy and a digital tech. It'd be awesome to have a producer and a little bit of money with better GPS units to follow riders so you can
Right.
get a little bit more efficient with your
Yeah.
filming. But
Okay.
But would your attack mode still be the same?
I think so
Yeah.
because I love the way it went.
Yeah.
And you got to figure it out now, right?
Kinda,
But you
You
guys
got the gimbal dialed in?
kinda.
were you guys
It's always
grabbing-
different. Every day is different.
Speaking of audio, though, were you guys grabbing audio separate from video, unlike the gravel grinding?
Oh, that was
sound
so much fun. A lot of that was, I hate to admit it, but a lot of the gravel stuff was in-camera audio because I couldn't get the mic balanced on the gimbal. So it was the crappy in-camera mic, but
Yeah, it
It
still
worked
sounded awesome.
for
Yeah,
what we were doing because it's
Yeah.
a very thin, crunchy sound.
yes,
So
yes.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
way
it just
wavelength's pretty
accentuated.
flat.
And I don't know if it's because I'm a cyclist, but it just conveyed
are?
this
Yeah.
feeling.
You ride bikes?
Yeah, occasionally.
Oh, okay.
But it's one of those things you could hear without any context, and it automatically strikes a
it
feeling in
does,
you.
indeed.
It was beautiful.
But most of the vocal audio was boom mic and whatnot, and
Yeah.
we did our best. But man, if we could do it again, having an audio guy would be fantastic.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't change our method at
Right.
all.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we really the raw, boots on the ground, kind of
Yeah.
punk rocky grit
Yeah.
of. Originally, I had said this was a National Geographic-esque still project, and so I wanted it to be a National Geographic-esque film project.
No native boobies though.
So
No,
Not yet.
no, man.
It is a lot easier to be swift with a smaller crew, though. I mean,
Absolutely.
you had
Oh,
it to your
yeah.
A lot
advantage.
to be said
If
for
it's
that.
just the two of you, it's like, get in, we're going.
Yeah.
So, did you guys, were y'all looking at track leaders and following particular people? You would know that Rich is here, and would you drive 3 miles down the road, set up, wait for him to come by? Or that Steve wasn't moving, so maybe he's sitting on the side of the road having a break, and you would ride up on him and talk to him?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Yeah, we would go back to the website. We really lucked out in that the phone service I have works really well outside of the city, and the phone service Nick's has works really well inside the city. So we were able to bounce. That was just man, we lucked out. On multiple occasions, I'm like, thank God that worked out like that, because if we had been on the same program, I think it's AT&T or something, out in the sticks, my website, my web carrier wouldn't have worked, and I wouldn't have been able to just follow the riders.
Yeah.
So that was a really lucky, stupid mistake. So we lucked out there, and that's how we did it. Yeah, we would follow them, and then we'd leap forward. And sometimes we would get stuck and have to say, who have we shot today? Who did we shoot yesterday? What do we need? Yes, Rich is doing something out here, but Levi's doing something here. How much do we have of Levi? How much do we have Rich? And then there was multiple occasions we'd be riding to go get a shot, and then Matt would be on the side of the road eating a sandwich.
Yeah.
You got to hit the brakes, talk to Matt. So you had goals, but you had to be flexible.
Did you encounter people that didn't want to talk?
No.
No.
In the very beginning, there were a couple of people who just waved at us but wanted to ride.
That's what I was thinking earlier when you were like, we leapfrogged, we'd go in front and we'd wait for them to pass and we'd chat somebody up. And I was just wondering if there was just people that were like, not now, just on a mission.
All smiles and a wave. But
Yeah.
yes, totally. There were
Yeah.
a couple of people, and it was interesting that they were the folks who dropped out.
It was interesting that it happened that way.
Yeah,
They were inside then. They're like inside themselves trying to focus, trying to get their
Yeah.
thing done. Yeah.
Yeah,
That makes sense. It makes perfect sense to me.
interesting.
I think it was Rich. I think you said it was day 2. People seem to drop out because they're not reaching their like mathematical goals. I need to be here by this time. I need to
Yep.
be here by that time, and that really proved like accurate. It was folks who were so focused on those formal things would just be like, "I'm done. I can't do this." But folks who were just like, "I'm out here riding.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do this."
For the record,
Yeah.
for the record, that's why I have 0 goals. For this, I'm planning on doing it this year. That's why I have 0 goals. Because I don't want to ride 120 miles and go, I should have ridden 150 or whatever the number is. So my goal is to ride my bike.
Well, your other goal is to not sleep in a hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
My tent will be here in June.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brad's going to be the first person to camp the whole way for the rest.
He's going to be the first person arrested for trespassing.
Yeah, no kidding.
Hey, I'll take both medals.
I'll be there with you. One of us is going to have to bail the other one out.
I'm going to dirtbag the shit out of it.
I'm fine with that.
That's my plan.
I know a good children's playground you can sleep in. I've been there, done that.
That just got lifted. I'm allowed.
Oh, dude.
Oh, I see your ankle is free.
Yeah.
I kid, obviously. Wait, kid's not the right word. But I do fully intend to camp. I know I've said that more than twice.
So what about the interactions with locals? Did y'all run into that, or since you were in a motor vehicle, that wasn't much of a thing?
We did a few times. It was sweet. That old guy in the gator that was doing this in the final cut. Yeah, it's a country folk. They like talking.
Yeah.
It was precious.
We just coming out of Oklahoma. It was maybe the second day. We were really stoked. Maybe the end of the first day. We were really stoked. We got a bunch of good shots. We were happy. And we pulled over to a parking lot that was a church, and it was just chatting about everything, what we're gonna do next. And a lady pulled in, and she had a real kind of sour face on, and we're like, oh, here we go. And she hops out and says, "What are y'all doing? You want some coffee? You want some cake? Give me a sec." And pulled us into the church.
We got coffee and cake.
Coffee and cake.
Oh, wow.
These ladies at the Hangerman Reserve Church.
Oh, okay. I know exactly where that is. Yeah.
Just sweet as pie. Yeah. And it went on like that through Texas. There's only maybe one or two incidents that could be questionable. And realistically, for 11 days on the road with cameras doing what we were doing, 2 people were sour.
Sure.
Those are good odds.
Yeah.
Those are really good odds.
That's
Yeah.
good numbers, yeah.
Those are the same odds you're going to have just driving to Walmart.
Yeah.
Actually,
or
probably
being in a
worse.
walk.
I get asked this a lot from people that aren't familiar with the types of routes we do, particularly over 1,000 miles, and as many really out of the way spots as this route does go. On any of the ground that you guys covered, did you ever feel unsafe or concerned or anything like that with anything?
I won't tell the stoned joke here.
Oh. What?
Oh, please do.
I have to now.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. No, the route was perfect. It was wonderful. But there was this one situation that we got ourselves into. The GPS wasn't keeping up, blah, blah, blah. We were sitting here for 3 hours waiting on Levi. I mean, we got the shot, but we sat there for 3 hours. So I was bored, so I took an edible. But we're out there in the middle of nowhere, right? Not a single vehicle, not a single human being has passed us by. And then finally Owen's, all right, he's right around the corner. You got to get ready. Get in the back of the truck with the gimbal, because I didn't have the gimbal set up right on the truck, so I had to actually hold it in the back of the truck. But I said, no, man, it's not safe. There's too much traffic. We hadn't seen a human being in 3 hours. And so we just got the tripod shot on it. The route was safe. The route was phenomenal, spectacular.
I never once felt unsafe or had to worry about anything. Everybody was curious about what we were doing. Who were these? Right? There's a race. At the old fella who was pointing and whatnot. We told him what we were doing, and he went up and told his wife, and his wife came down on their property and put out a chair to watch the riders come by.
Yeah.
They thought it was a motorcycle race, but whatever.
Yeah, we get that a lot. People can't relate to doing 1,000 miles on a bicycle.
Right.
Yeah. But no, everybody was
that's
really
me.
nice.
Yeah.
That was me.
No, I'm shocked.
I kicked the table. It was me.
Did you guys I don't know, like the first day, were y'all drive a hotel in Paris and then you would drive a couple hundred miles to Texarkana and then a couple hundred miles the other way? How did you guys lodge at the end of a shoot, or did you just sleep in the back of your truck? Or
We made that part up as we went.
yeah.
We started in Texarkana, and I was looking for the cheapest hotels possible. And then at some point, I think the second night, Nick was like, "We need secure places for this equipment."
Yeah.
And so then we started looking for slightly nicer places.
So
I can vouch. Yeah, I can vouch for the Roach motels in Texas are not the safest places.
So you upgraded. You upgraded from motels to hotels.
That's
Correct.
correct.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yes.
That was my paranoia, but man, we've got thousands of dollars worth of crap.
Yeah.
The motels were freaking me out.
Yeah.
Were y'all both shooting at the same time?
Yes.
You're both operating cameras? I'm going to be a nerd and ask what kind of cameras y'all are operating.
Sony A7S III and FX3.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And the drone. The drone was a DJI Mavic something or other. I don't remember which kind.
You're the drone pilot? Or, yeah, you are?
I think I did. You
did.
probably did some too, right?
Fiddled with it, but I think the stuff we used was yours.
We're both photographers, so if he wants the camera, I trust him 100% as a DP to know what the hell he's doing. He knows how to frame a shot. He's a photographer.
Yeah.
Now that you guys have been on the route and you did the go to a spot and wait for the rider approach, knowing the route itself now and the different points, would you still do it that same way, or being with familiarity with the route, would you focus on certain areas or spend more time in certain spots or anything like
Question.
2 teams. We
Yeah.
break it up to 2 teams
Oh, yeah.
and do exactly what we did. And just because it was Nick and I, you asked about the hotels, we would have to, at 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, it's like we need dinner, we need to download, we need to recharge our batteries, let alone ourselves.
Yeah.
And so we would have to find a hotel or motel or whatever we could. And maybe that was 10 minutes, maybe that was an hour and a half off route. Often it was an hour and a half off route. And so I think I would have a second team.
Yeah.
So the biggest change.
Would you have oscillated days? Like we're on this day and you guys are on this day, or would you have just covered two different territories?
2 different territories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're in it, you got to be in it.
Yeah.
Especially after, day 4 really starts to spread out
Yeah.
significantly.
After day 2, it really
Well,
starts to
yeah,
spread out.
yeah, you could say that for sure.
And you have to suffer with the people you're photographing. Too.
Yeah.
You have to be in it. You can't be
Yeah.
fresh after 12 hours of sleep in a nice, comfortable bed, and
Yeah.
you're filming guys who are breaking their butts.
Yeah.
A little
Yeah,
bit of
no.
an endurance exercise on y'all's part as well.
Oh yeah,
Little bit.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Were you guys up to speed with what the riders' daily plans were, or were you just following on the tracker to, oh, it looks like he stopped in Vernon, or did you guys know what people were doing, what their plans were day by day?
We would try to
did you?
ask, as every once in a while we'd be lucky enough to hotel in the same hotel, and then everybody's leaving it at the same time, and you're like, what are you guys doing today? Where are you going? What's your goals? Which were usually pretty similar, but the timelines were different. I'll get to finish this day 150 miles by this time, but another guy would be like, I'm going to do that in 3 hours later, that sort of thing.
So everybody that time around was on the same segment schedule, roughly. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, within 12 hours of each other.
Okay.
Which, again, was luck and made our jobs easier.
What did you guys learn? Or start with you, Owen. What's your number one takeaway? What did you discover either about yourself, the people, the route? What was your big takeaway from it?
That's a really good question.
Absolutely nothing. Perfect.
I'm not entirely sure I can answer it honestly, because every time the film does something, I learn something. I guess I would take away that I really like big projects. I really like losing myself to a big project I can drown in. And this was probably the most fun I've ever had.
Yeah.
I would love to do this again so many times.
Needless to say, you've got a little bit of a bug or an itch you need to scratch.
I've got an itch for sure.
Do you have
for
ideas
sure.
for your next project?
Yeah, we are working on. It's a skateboard documentary, episodic documentary about guys who build skate parks in their backyard, concrete pools in their backyard.
I'm already in.
Dude, I'm in love. I want to know more. You can tell me later.
No, go for it.
But I want to know so much more because it's so funny. Literally, when you were about to say that, I was like, I can put you in touch with a bunch of middle-aged skaters that are trying to resuscitate the skate scene here in the DFW area.
Interesting.
And I know a guy that makes rails for skateboards.
Oh, cool.
And so they're like all into like slappies and stuff. They go to close down parking lots and just ride curbs and stuff.
Right.
And I'm talking like 50-year-old dudes that are trying to get like back into the sport and stuff.
Brad was a professional skater before he was an engineer.
Was not professional.
Geezers.
Yeah, dude.
But-
geezers rolling slow and low. It's fun.
It's so cool that you like when you said skateboarding, it just lit up. Like,
You know, it
Is that going to you?
That's yours or someone's.
there's a lot of similarity in, I think, in the skateboard community
Oh yeah,
and the cycling community, particularly at these
because it's an individual sport, and the only person that's going to make you better is you.
That's right.
And then you got to take your licks. You got to earn everything you do.
You were a
You know?
professional skater.
Not really.
You understand how it works.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You guys, is that local? Is that in Texas?
It is. It is. Yes. It is we shot our first episode over Christmas in North Dallas, and
Yeah, we're live. We're always live, Rich. Don't you see the on air?
There's
See what it says
there's
on
red
air?
lights over there. We're on air.
How did that come on your radar?
The skateboarding.
Yes.
so my best friend from high school, it builds concrete skate parks. Right. He's on the hose or so on and so
Yeah.
forth, and he travels around the country doing this.
Every time you say concrete skate parks, all I think is Burnside.
Absolutely.
In Portland.
What the
So-
hell is Burnside?
so
Only the
It was like the first freelance concrete park that was built by the skate community. It's all under a bridge, so it's protected. They can skate it during inclement weather, but it's this whole community thing. It's a beautiful thing.
It wasn't really a master plan. They basically the city just said, "Go do. We need you guys to not skate on the streets. So here's a plot of land if you want to make something."
And we need you to chase the homeless out from underneath.
That
the
probably
bridge.
had something to do with it too.
probably did have something to do with it. Yeah, the DIY skate scene.
Yeah.
So that's really what it is. Is my buddy who's the host, Todd Watkins. He builds skate parks, travels around the country, the world, really.
Yeah.
Building skate parks, and
What a dream job.
totally. Yeah. And on the weekends, so he's paid by cities to pour these skate parks, and then on the weekends he lives in Austin, but you're in Montana, and so you find the local skate scene and go over to the guys and continue building skate parks in backyards.
Yeah.
And so there's this network that it's all over the place, and it's a really beautiful community that supports each other and is, 1,000% counterculture, and I think that's a really wonderful, beautiful thing when people come together to support each other outside of the standard means, the standard avenue.
Mm-hmm.
And then skateboarding really embodies that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. You look
Crazy.
at-
Like, you're an outcast by everybody, but the skate community loves you.
It's nothing but hugs.
It's such a strange thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think it's really beautiful and unique. And
Yeah.
so it's what we're trying to capture along with the skating, the scene.
Yeah.
We've got a bunch of leads. So like I said, we shot an episode, and then we were running with it. It was really good. And then the host called me one day and said, "Hey, buddy, I got to take a job in St. Thomas." Yeah.
Oh,
Go, be
Oh
happy.
my gosh!
Yeah, totally. I can't really.
How
be
dare
back.
he?
Yeah. He's supposed to be back around May or something. I think we'll pick up around.
Yeah.
and
Dude,
run
I'm
with it.
super stoked for that.
It's
So can I see the first episode? Is it out or no?
no, it is
Oh,
not
okay.
out. It's in pieces. We
Okay.
have some pickup shots to do. The music's rad.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, we
the
found
music's sweet.
so cool.
Speaking of rad, did y'all see they're doing a rad documentary?
Yes.
Really
Did you see that? About the filming of the movie Rad?
Oh, shit.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Looks a little cheesy, but carry on. So you still got pickup shots to do.
Yes, and I'm not quite sure where the end of that will be. We've got some ideas. We've talked about what to do with it. This documentary is going really well on social media, and so it warrants conversation about where the end
Yeah.
is.
This is going to be episodic.
I would like it to be episodic.
Yeah.
yes.
But episodic covers a lot of ground. Can you better define what your meaning of episodic is?
Sure.
It means there's multiple episodes, Kevin.
22 minutes each week, or what?
I couldn't resist. Sorry.
So what I feel like
Can you
people-
hit him, please?
Kevin, mansplaining is when a man explains something.
What does manscaping mean?
You want me to show you?
if we can mansplain it.
We don't know we're feral around here.
Anyway, how are you defining episodic in this particular instance?
One of the things I feel like was great, people responded to in the documentary, is that we took our time and we went deep and we told our story. And I want to do the same thing, continue to do this with our projects moving forward. So as far as episodic goes, it's not every month. It's when we finish the episode.
Yeah.
The story's what's important, and that's our guiding light.
What is your focus on this, though? Is it the creation, the locations,
The
people?
skaters.
Yeah, like the culture.
Yeah.
It is the
Because you could go so many directions.
so many yes.
Yeah.
One of I thought the really valid feedbacks you guys gave me from this film was to go a little deeper on the bicycles. So that's what we're going to try to do with the skateboarding stuff, is go a little deeper about how they made the skate parks, what it took to pour the concrete, how they came up with the design, who the people were. They're skateboarders. They're not
rocket scientists.
They're not rocket scientists, and they're not steeped in money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They are very creative people.
Yeah.
And they have an end, and they get there.
Yeah.
And so it's about that. Like, how did they get there? We ended up in a drainage ditch, a drainage tunnel. Excuse me. On this first episode, I'll leave it at that.
Leave it at that.
It's following these guys down their rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And how did they find their piece? How did they find this
Like I didn't even know that was going on.
It's like the place.
So I know, like I follow a couple of guys on Instagram or whatever, and I'll watch where they put together these modified obstacles, quarter pipes and half pipes, and even loop overs and stuff, and they're all pouring it out of concrete. And there's never any conversation, but it's almost a time lapse. It's cut scenes and stuff. I've been building this thing, and it seems like it's in an afternoon or two. And then the next scene is them skating it. And I'm like, this is so cool. And they put out so many. I'm like, this shit's happening all the time. But I don't ever see stuff like that around here. But I'm the same guy. Like, I'm driving down the road. I haven't skated in 5 years probably. And I still scout skate spots.
Totally.
Like, oh, those steps are sick. That gap is awesome. Or that handrail's perfect. Or that bench or whatever. So when this guy that I'm telling you about hit me up and I met him, we started talking about wakeboarding and stuff. And I was asking him about carving and all this. And he's, oh, did you skate? And I go, yeah. And we went down this huge rabbit hole. And he's, dude, me and 3 other guys were skating at the Steak and Shake parking lot in Grapevine. And it's all fenced in. And we're just curbs and everything for days. It's all slappies. And he goes, there's nothing super technical. And he goes, nobody's going to laugh at you. And I was like, that's cool.
Someone's definitely going to laugh at you.
Oh, yeah. Or with me.
No, at.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So you had touched on feedback based on the social media exposure of the documentary is maybe pointing you in a direction of how you would like to do something with the skate episodes, or it's opened your eyes to other options, or what did you mean by that?
I don't want to say too much because I don't want to lock us into anything. Yes, the social media, I had an idea for an end, and the way that this documentary, 1,000 Miles in Dusty Saddle, has been received. Today we have 5,000 views. It changed what is the end of this stuff. Maybe we can do it ourselves. Maybe we don't need anybody else. But also getting other larger body involved would solve the problems, like a sound guy and so forth.
Yeah.
So it's a give and a take. I don't want to commit us to anything.
That's fair.
No,
Suffice it
thank
to
you.
say, I'm super excited.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
super
you.
excited.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
We work in a black box. You work in a vacuum, and you have no idea what you're doing. I like it. Nick likes it.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's a good place to be, though.
Yes.
As long as you... So it's the same thing with cooking, too. You cook for you, and you hope you have good taste, right?
Yeah.
You make something, and you're like, I like this. And then the nervous part is, do other people like it?
Yeah.
So I get it. I get it.
It's very much that.
Yeah.
And you just, gosh, a lot of it's by the gut. You know?
Yeah.
A lot of it's by feel.
You guys obviously have a great vision, and you work well together. It shows in the film.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Did you get the response from people like us? Or is this kind of on par with what you guys expected the reaction to be, or has it been better?
I had no idea what to expect.
I didn't
Really?
either.
No expectations?
No.
Were you nervous?
No.
Or you knew it was good?
I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay to say
I
that.
think that's a very valid thing that you just said. Owen liked it, and I liked it. And Owen has taught me to not give a fuck
Yeah.
about other people.
Yeah.
Which is one of the precious things that
Yeah.
I love that. I love not giving a fuck about
Yeah.
what other people think.
Yeah.
Do what you like.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if
As
other
long as-
people like it,
Yeah.
fantastic. If they
Right.
don't, okay, but hey, I like it.
Yeah.
Had a good time making it, and I
Had a
like
great
looking at
time
it.
making it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick, what did you learn? What's your big takeaway?
I think exactly that. Every time I worked with Owen on a project, this might be project 3 or 4, something like that. Every time I worked with him, I learned a little bit more. My don't give a fuck level keeps going up, or is it down? I don't know. Whatever. I give less of a fuck the more I work with this guy.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important thing for any artist in any genre of art to learn. I'm a very technical guy. I'm uber geeky technical, but it helps to work with people like this.
Yeah.
Who are like, why 20 minutes? Fuck you. It's going to be 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Stop telling me.
Is that
about
the way you
20
said
minutes.
it, Owen?
Possibly.
Pretty much. I mean, but
Why make it 20 minutes when we can make it 40 for twice the price?
There you go.
you should have said that,
It's a
actually.
good sell.
So that's what I learned. Every time I work with this guy, I
I
learn
like
a
that.
little bit more.
I think that most artists hold themselves to a higher standard than any outside interference could hold themselves to anyways. As long as your vision is clean and pure, you're going to do the right things. And the less you let other people influence you, the more you stay true to your path. And you're going to create purer art. Right. So I think you're exactly right. As long as you are happy with what you're doing, you're sincerely happy and content with what you're doing, then keep doing what you're doing.
Right.
In
They're going to
hindsight,
figure it out.
had it not been good and had it failed, at least you had done it on your own terms.
Yeah.
And you didn't try to manufacture something just to try to make it something that you hoped it would be. Didn't Lemmy say something like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
It sounds like you
R.I.P.
guys
Lemmy.
R.I.P. Lemmy.
have lots of stuff you'd like to do, that you want to do.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not trying to pry, but does your life situation give you guys the flexibility to do that, or is that a lot of jumping through hoops on your end to make those dreams become a reality?
I think we do whatever it takes to make something. Yeah, we all have lives and jobs, but if Owen comes to me tomorrow and says, I got this idea and it's going to take you 10 days away from your family, I'll probably say, okay.
Are we going to have fun? Am I going to be scared?
Yeah, and I hope so, because if I'm not scared, we're not having fun.
We've got a lot of ideas, but what it boils down to is time and money.
Yeah.
When these projects are huge, and I'm a photographer, Nick's a photographer, what it really takes is some support to go beyond what we've done. And I know we both want to do that. That's really what it boils down to. And I think that Nick and I are very okay continuing to make work on our own dime, because that gives us the freedom to do whatever we want and say what we want and say it how we want.
Yeah, there's got to be like a precipice there.
It's
like where you're like, I'd like to go bigger, but I still want to be in control.
When Sam Raimi made Evil Dead, he told the producers, he's look, it was a crazy production. There's crazy stories that came out of the first Evil Dead, right?
Yeah.
But he was basically like, it'll never be this bad again, but it'll never be this good again.
Love me some Bruce Campbell.
And that is filmmaking. Is what we did, it'll never be that bad again. The idea is that you take what we made and we sell it and make it bigger the next time, but other people will get it. So it's like you said, it's this give and a take. It grows, and then other people get involved, and it's not Nick and I anymore. It's somebody else, and that's okay. And it just grows and gives and takes.
Yeah.
It'll never be this bad again, but it'll never be this good again.
Yeah.
I mean, is there a goal to get that project put together that funds making this your primary gig, or is this we're just seeing what happens as we do this one day at a time?
I think we would both, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going to speak for you here, but I think we'd both be super stoked if this was our primary gig.
Yeah.
If this was it. Yeah, we'd be super high fives.
So when you say that you like big projects, I speak from a complete vantage point of naivety. I don't know what is the next step. If you consider this a pretty big project, what would the next step as far as a larger project be? A one-day shoot would be one thing, and then you did a multi-day shoot.
Right.
But if you did what's the next? What makes it something bigger?
So another team managing Nick and I, and then having a secondary team would be a secondary team to manage a bigger project, bigger race. I think there's making it more complicated. The weather.
Weather is always a factor.
We really lucked out with weather. Yeah.
Yeah, were you guys ready for the weather, by the way? If it would have rained for 2 days,
Man, I was hoping it would.
I mean,
You wanted mud?
I love mud,
But
man.
how do you handle that from a camera and microphone
I had
perspective?
wraps. I was prepared for all that. On one hand, I guess it was great it didn't rain. It gave
Sure.
us the freedom to film more.
Sure.
But if it did, man, that would have
You
been
were ready.
badass. That
Yeah.
would have been so much fun watching
You would
this
have been
guy
out there
going
for
through
about
the mud.
6 or 7 more days, though.
Yeah.
You've been
Yeah.
out there for much
Oh
longer.
yeah, absolutely. And us personally, we would have gotten stuck. What was that muddy red clay patch between
The Red
Cap Rock-
Roads.
The
The
Red
Red
Roads.
Yeah.
Was that south of Cap Rock?
It's east of Cap Rock,
East of Cap Rock.
south
So-
of Esteline, and yeah, they had a race out there a couple weeks ago that it was so muddy that they canceled that section of it.
Yeah.
Oh, so they didn't even go through it. See, I went out there a few months after the race with my family. I don't remember where we were going, but I hit up the same roads that we were on, and it had rained. And I tried to go on that road, and my wife was like, "No."
She's
And
a smart woman.
We would have been
except for her
stuck
choice in men.
like Shuck with 2 kids in the truck. But yeah, it would have sucked, but also it would have been awesome.
You would have had more stories.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What is
Yeah.
it? There's
And the
there's a
film and
wonderful
the,
story of.
the color, the richness in that mud. Oh,
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
It would make great photography.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a really great story of, and I don't know what year it is, but it's a continental divide story where a couple guys were riding and the rains flowed in, and these 3 guys sat in a porta potty, just waiting out the storms for 6 hours as it flows through whatever part of Colorado. To your point of great stories, that stuff would be, it would make our jobs 1,000 times more difficult,
Yeah.
but then 1,000 times better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just this give and take. And to Nick's point earlier of you go out there and you're in it. We're not riding, but we're in it.
Yeah.
That's the point. That's why we want to be there with you and see it and hear it and feel it.
Yeah.
This is as close as we can get. I've explored a couple other options of how to mount cameras and whatnot. But I think realistically, this is about as close as you can get without, putting a camera on the bike.
Right.
But there's a lot of that footage already, so
Yeah.
it feels redundant within the community.
Yeah.
Did. Yeah, we were talking about doing GoPros on everyone's bike, and
I'm glad
all
you
that.
didn't. That would
I'm
have
glad
changed
we
the
didn't.
feel.
I'm
Yeah.
glad we
That-
didn't.
that-
Yeah.
There's a good separation between the storytellers and the people in the story.
It's
Yeah.
just
I like the observation factor
Yeah.
instead
Yeah.
of the participation factor.
going back
Do
to the
that.
spaghetti western analogy you guys
Yes.
use. There's such a classic feel
Yeah.
to this.
Yeah.
And I think that style that you wrapped into that's absolutely amazing. But going back to what you guys, it would be nice if this was the full-time gig. It took you 18 months to put together a 36-minute documentary.
Hey, man. Come at me.
Trust me. These are my pains that I deal with day in and day out myself. I can't paint. I damn sure can't dance or sing. Hey.
Mic her up. Mic her up.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
She's managed to stay quiet the whole time, but she set herself up for that.
My wife's laughing at me from the audience.
And what's funny is it sounded like a woman's statement when you were like, it took you 18 months to make 36 minutes. That's like something my wife would say. It only took you 2 years to clean out the garage.
But I still consider myself a creative person. And my art has become laying out these routes.
It's just a
And-
train.
It is a dream.
Yeah.
It took you 18 months to put together a 36-minute documentary. Correct me if I'm wrong. You can't make a living that way, no matter how good the documentary is.
Depends on who sponsors it.
Or can you? No, that's where I'm going. I don't know the business. Or is it something that, okay, this was first time around, now we can compress it down to 12 months? Or what does that look like in your... 'cause
Right, it's a really valid-
if I'm not making it clear, I want to find a way to help you guys as much as I possibly can.
Have you seen the Red Bull video? The most recent cycling one where it's all the train set up and the guys hitting all the jumps? Yeah.
And the train's moving, and he's not moving, but the train, and
Yeah.
it's
And that took And that was like a minute and a half worth of footage at the end.
Yeah, but
you know what the
but
production
but
was?
Red Bull sponsored it.
That's what
There's money there.
I'm bringing this full circle. That's what I was saying. You said
Well-
you can't make money doing that, but it depends on who's backing the project.
Right.
Well, no, I
Yeah.
understand.
Big picture, if we had a budget, we would have hired an editor and a colorist and a
Yeah.
sound designer.
And that would have compressed the time.
What is a
Then
color
Owen and I,
tremendously.
Recoloring the footage. They don't. You don't.
You shoot in raw,
It's got to be colored.
I need that.
and it looks gray.
It's
the
like
job's
adding
going
salt.
away. AI is taking that job.
It's a pinch of salt at the
I,
cook.
Now you
yeah,
just hit
AI.
this button that goes forever.
AI is not taking that job.
Colorist, AI is going to
Do
take
they use
colorist.
MSG? Just asking.
It's healthy.
Do we have any questions from the audience?
I have a suggestion.
Get this guy mic. State your name and business.
I'd be happy to help you cut it down to 20 minutes. I know what to take out.
All the parts when Kevin talks.
We're not taking you out of the film.
I want a gag reel with just you in it, buddy.
Everybody loves
That's what I
Rich.
want. I want all the excerpts of him.
Well, I want all the raw footage and
Yeah.
put together my own version.
I want the outtakes. Is there going to be a director's cut with all the outtakes and the bloopers?
What I'm hearing is more Rich.
more rich, definitely more rich.
I got a sickness, and the
only
cure
key
is
Is
more
rich.
Kevin, you did fantastic too. And I've told you, no,
More
I have
rich.
told you this. You setting up the story inside Mad Duck is
That-
authentic and genuine, and I appreciate that.
That was all editing.
Was it?
I
Was that
assure
AI?
you.
Was that
No,
AI? Kevin?
no. Kevin, okay. Kevin and I have not worked together at all on this project, but Kevin has been a huge help. And anytime I had questions, you have answered 10 times the question I asked. When we interviewed, you answered honestly and with your heart, and that's what came across. And that's your love for your craft, for your artistry, route finding is prevalent in the films and in the interviews, and it's part of what cinches up the ball that is the film. Your love for what you do is what drove us to this. We couldn't have done it without you. No, I didn't do it for you, but you played such a huge role. We owe you such a huge thank you. We're here talking to people because of you.
Right.
I think the community, the cycling, the North Texas, the Texas cycling community, the at-large United States community of cycling owes you a huge thank you, what you're doing and what you continue to do.
I agree. I agree. 100%.
He's in the Gravel Hall of Fame.
No, I'm not.
Oh,
Well, you should.
you denounced?
What?
You denounced?
No,
Oh, maybe not. Take that out.
Are you okay?
Dan,
Get this man another beer.
Rich has another question.
So I do have a serious question. Has anyone commented on the film in social media or otherwise beyond the four of us sitting here or the five of us in the film? And what have you done to expand the exposure to people all across the country and across the world?
I don't think much.
they put it on YouTube.
Just a couple
put it
of
on
weeks
YouTube.
ago, I
The
think.
algorithm is working.
The
That's how I knew that it was out on YouTube because it showed up on.
Oh, no
on
kidding.
yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
11 days ago, I think it said
Okay.
something like that.
I mean, I have to admit, I'm terrible at marketing. I'm a maker. I like to make stuff. I don't like to talk about myself.
me too.
I
You
would
know.
love to help you guys.
Please do. Take over.
yes.
No.
We can talk later about that.
He says that to me all the time too.
Your question was who we've talked to, I'm sorry, Rich. Your question was who we've talked to, who we've met.
How far have you expanded?
How far have we expanded? So after I released it to YouTube, I contacted bikepacking.com.
It's on there.
It's on
Oh,
there.
really?
Oh man, and
What?
they
Read it today. They got it up
For
quick,
real?
didn't they?
quick.
Yeah, it's
in
up.
that
It's up.
day.
And I stole that picture off bikepacking.com with the tripod shadow and all that because that's who took that shot. That was an awesome shot.
I don't know who that was.
Okay.
One of us.
One of the DPs.
We sat out there most of the day waiting for.
That looked like a board and stone shot that came together really well.
It was a lot. We sat out there on the edge of that all day waiting for Roel and Levi to bomb that hill. What we have done to market is not enough. I'm not very good at marketing. I like to make things. Nick likes to make things. Marketing is another skill. So I released it to YouTube. I sent it to bikepacking.com. They did a quick write-up. They used my words to do the write-up. And I've sent it to a few other places that I've not heard back from. I don't know how else to really market something like this outside of kind of really word of mouth and just letting the community take it.
So are you using that knowledge as ammunition for your current project? Are you trying to think of the outlets and how to market that before it becomes a finished product? Or are you still just from the position of, I like to make things and not market them? I only asked that because you said this would be great if this could be our full-time gig, and maybe
Probably could use some marketing to do that.
maybe instead of hiring a color guy, you can hire a marketing person.
I think that's the right direction to go, if that's what we want to do.
Yeah.
You hire someone to do that stuff that you're not naturally inclined to do.
Yeah.
We're not naturally inclined to market ourselves.
Yeah,
and
I suck at marketing.
talking about ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it a business. That's what makes it an industry.
Right.
That's why you need. It's too big a project for one person to do.
Well, and the only reason I ask these questions is because
It's the same train that goes by Brad's house.
Yeah, it is. It almost feels like unfair that it's such a beautiful film. You guys had such pure intentions, and I feel like 5,000 people viewership on YouTube, relatively short time, but it seems like such a small nip.
Right.
Like that's why I say, like, maybe marketing could be a better thing, because more people deserve to see it. I feel like it's a selfish thing that I get to see it and my friends get to see it. And once again, I'm not a marketer, so I'm not going to send links to 25 people. Right. So if I was a marketer, I would be marketing for you, but I can't even market myself.
Do you remember when we first started talking about this project and what I told you my biggest concern about it was?
The niche.
Yeah.
Yeah, the niche.
But I think it transcends cycling, because it's a man against man, essentially. Man against nature. There's so many elements.
I think that's a different film, to be honest with you, though. And I'm not saying that to detract from what you guys have done. I think your film works fantastically for a cycling audience. Not even an endurance cycling, not a gravel audience, a cycling audience.
Tangentially, I can set my wife down. She doesn't care about cycling, even though I've been cycling my whole life, and she could watch it, and she would be moved at the end. But she doesn't have to be a cyclist. That's what I mean. Maybe if you had zero connection to cycling, maybe not.
That might be where I think you guys do a fantastic story. If somebody gets 5 minutes into it, they're sold. They're going to see it to minute 36. How do you get somebody that has no interest in cycling, let alone dirt roads across Texas?
Start it before the sun sets for my wife. My wife.
What's your favorite punk rock band?
Ooh, Jawbreaker, probably, is my go-to old school.
Bad Brains.
Depends on what era you're talking about too.
Yeah, what era are we talking about?
Yeah,
that's a whole other podcast. Don't ask me that question.
My point is that the community carries the message to the wider audience. Punk rock has carried into pop culture because people love punk rock, because we love these Bad Brains, because we love NoFX, because we love these bands, and they've carried into the wider culture slowly but authentically, with authenticity.
Yeah.
And that's organic.
Man, I love just wrapping punk rock into gravel. But
How I would
punk
like to
rock's
do our-
never been mainstream, and it never will be. But
Not true.
Not the genre. Bands, but not the genre.
But punk rock influences so much that has been culture-wide.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess that's my idea for marketing.
Yeah.
And maybe that's not the best marketing plan, but I think it's authentic and it fits who we are, because the stories we make are authentic.
Yeah.
And so we could just let the community carry it. Yes, I would love to do this full time tomorrow. What's our next project? But
Right.
also, I don't think that we can be genuine to our stories and to ourselves with being everyday tomorrow. Like it just,
Yeah, I feel that more than you understand.
yeah.
Like
We're gonna have to have day jobs.
Yeah.
I don't see being genuine to this story without
Yeah.
that, which is unfortunate.
It's the way it is. The last Oscars, there were 2 filmmakers at the last Oscars. One of them was the director for Honora. And
Don't
the other
even know
one,
that.
I forgot the other one, but both of them, they're indie filmmakers. Their films won freaking Oscars.
And
they're
one
both
guy-
up there
but that
talking
one
about
guy-
how they made no money.
One single guy for, was it Amora won Best Director, Best Screenplay,
Right.
Best or I don't remember what it was, but
All
a
of
single
that.
guy, because it was an independent film, he
Right.
did almost all of it and won
He's
5.
up there getting all those
No
awards
one knows who this guy
and
is.
talking about how he made no money.
And
The
he's
crew
broke.
made
And he's
more
broke.
money than him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make the art. Just make the art.
There's, agree 1,000%. Make the art. Make the fucking art. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But you got to pay the mortgage.
We
Right?
do. Hence the day jobs.
do
Well,
have
at
to pay
least
the
our
mortgage.
day jobs are adjacent, right? We're photographers. We're in the business. At least it's adjacent.
Personally, I think cultivating the YouTube audience is the way to go.
You're probably 100% right.
It really is. It is the future of all of cinematic art.
Yeah.
It is the future of television. It is the future of film.
at
And
least the short future.
It's
The
weird
near
that
future.
We're
public-
living in the future.
We are living in the future. It's crazy.
who knows what's 5 years from now? But
Yeah.
I mean, I encourage you to embrace it for whatever that's worth.
Right.
I say do what you want to do.
But I think it gives you the that's the beauty of YouTube. It gives you that flexibility
Yeah.
to do exactly what you want
All right.
to do. It's just a matter of figuring out the pieces to make it happen.
So back to your episodic venture, are you going to release those as they're done? Or are you going
Man,
to
I-
wait and stockpile them and then drop them?
I really want to answer this question, but I gotta pee real bad.
Oh, yeah. AI editors are going to be doing overtime on this one. Holy hell, I'm way too hot. There we go.
I wouldn't say you're too hot.
Oh, thanks. You sound like my wife.
My wife.
Yeah. Hey, so listen. Are you aware?
We're still recording, Rich.
Americans are not indigenous to Austin, Texas?
I've got one last serious question.
What the hell?
Owen, you mentioned originally you wanted to do like a photo essay on this. Are you a writer? Do you have writing experience? Were
He
you going
literally
through it?
said that he met Kevin through doing his events.
No,
Writer.
writer,
Writer.
not right.
Enunciate. Oh. Writer. Are you
So
a writer?
you were going to shoot photos and you're going to write the story. Do you have experiences long form writing, or was you just like fuck it, I'm going to figure it out and do it?
Probably the latter.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That
I
probably
love
would
that
have been
about
better.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm very much a throw caution.
We've got a production company, including Deep Pockets producer, right here. All right here.
I can do craft services.
Nice.
So we just shot some photos and video for Shimano down in Terralingo, and we hired Brad as our chef.
Oh, nice.
Because there's no food options down there.
Talinga's
awesome.
beautiful. I
It's
love
amazing.
Talinga.
It was everyone on the set was in love because it was our the agency's my recommendation to shoot down there, and I went down there and scouted. I'd gone down there with Kevin's Ministry Palooza. That was what got me hooked.
Oh, sure.
I said, hey, I know a great spot because we're shooting in.
Don't say too much.
No, what month was it? March. We're in March.
No, we're in March.
Yeah.
It was February.
It's
It was the
February. Last week of February.
Yeah.
There's no place on the planet really that's super green, so we might as well take advantage of the not green.
Yeah. It's a good place to do it.
But we had windy days, a lot of dust in the air, which created a lot of drama and a lot of shadows.
And you brought your own dust blower, too.
We did.
Yeah.
We did bring in a blower to blow sand and dirt on
Yeah.
bicycle.
Makitas.
Yeah, a little wireless. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice.
We can't say much more.
When Nick and I first met, that was one of my jobs on the catalog fashion sets was
Well, the
Makita.
Yeah.
And you'd blow
Wind.
fake hair. Yeah, exactly. And you put it on the model's face.
More wind.
More
I
wind.
can't tell you how much I used to love JCPenney catalogs.
The lingerie section.
Specifically.
No, Mom, I'm just looking at toys.
I'm old enough to remember before there was a Victoria's Secret catalog. That was like a game changer. And then the internet came along.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
And then you moved to Texas.
Yeah. That is weird. I don't get it. Whatever. So are both you guys based in Texas now? Okay.
Correct.
And whereabouts-ish?
I'm downtown Dallas.
Okay.
I just left Dallas and moved to Colleyville, suburbs.
Okay.
All right.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know how local y'all were because you're like DPs and stuff. I figured maybe you're displaced by the fires in LA or something. I didn't know.
It's a lot of that.
There
Yeah.
is no, not us.
to that.
No, we
Yeah.
were local boys.
Yeah.
I think we both grew up here, right?
Interesting.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hey, there's some good DPs that come out of Texas, man.
Yeah, no.
Drew Daniels,
That's
he's my
not what
boy
I was,
right now.
That's not what I was saying. So, origin story. How did you guys get into photography? Like, I'm going to date myself real quick, but when I was a child, 110 was the format or medium format. What was your, I guess, stepping stones into photography? What made you fall in love with photography? Was it magazines? Was it doing your own photography? Was it did you go to an art installation? What happened?
You've got a good
For me, it was my dad. My dad loved being a photographer. He wasn't a professional photographer. but
Sure.
He always wanted the next best thing camera-wise.
Yeah.
So I always got his hand-me-downs.
Yeah.
Video cameras, still cameras, all of it. Just
Yeah.
fell in love with it.
Oh, that's cool.
Early teenagers. By the time I was 16, other kids were asking for cars and shit for their birthday.
Yeah.
I was asking my dad for, hey, can you maybe hand me down that last camera you bought and go buy a new one from
Yeah.
Best Buy, Dad, so I can have your old one?
And
Yeah.
and that's a very beneficial ecosystem there too, because dad benefits, you benefit, yeah,
absolutely.
Like that works on many levels.
Yeah.
So I get that.
Yeah. And then fashion mags were huge for me.
Yeah.
So I don't want to date myself, but I'm going to.
Go ahead.
Did you guys start in film, or was it still or was it completely digital by the time you
It
guys
was
got
all
it?
film.
all film.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because for me, that was always the biggest hang up. It was my budget's so limited shooting film. It's to me, the best thing that ever happened was digital, but it took 30 years before the digital quality was decent enough to be the full-time gig.
So many people are going back to film for good reason, man. There's no better dynamic range. There's no better cellular feel
Yeah.
I
than
agree.
film.
I agree.
It's like listening to vinyl.
Yeah,
just gonna say
exactly.
that.
Yeah.
I think
Absolutely.
was
you.
it September 5th?
did.
The new feature film about the.
35 mil.
Is that what they shot that on?
Yeah.
You can tell it's beautiful. It's the new. It's got Sarsgaard. It's about the.
It's called September 5th.
It's at September 5th. It's about the terrorist attack, the Berlin Olympics, Munich Olympics.
Oh.
And it's all shot from the perspective of the ABC sports crew
Cool.
being a part of the broadcast happening across the street. And they shot the entire thing in film. So it feels like a movie from the 70s because it happened in 1972.
You
It's really,
feel
really good.
the images. There's
Yeah.
a canvas behind the image. Digital is just
Yeah.
zeros and ones.
If you
Yeah.
have to put a filter on digital to make it look like film,
And they do, yeah.
just
for sure.
fucking put it on film.
Yeah, I shot medium format for. I went on a tear. I had a Mamiya 645, and I shot for, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 years, and there's still some of the pictures that I cherish the most. My kids and just landscape and
That
stuff.
negative was like this
Yes.
big, man.
Yeah. The crazy thing is, there's a certain thirst that's created from not having the instantaneous feedback that we have been like desensitized by all the instant gratification. And like when I was a kid, like wandering around, I had a little 110 Kodak, and I would take rolls of pictures, and I'd have to wait for months because I'd be bugging my mom to send them, because you'd mail them off, and then you'd get them back, and you'd have like 4 pictures that were worth the shit. And there's something to that, where even with the Mamiya, you may frame it, you may think it looks perfect, you may think all your stops and everything is perfect, and then you go and get it developed, and you're like, the light will never be that perfect. Nothing will ever be the same. And there's something that truly captures the moment in that versus where I have to sit here with my digital camera and I can just go
And then look at the screen and make sure it's exactly the way you envision it.
and then delete 80 pictures that aren't worth the shit. So
Not lose the craft.
yeah,
I have a funny story about instant film development.
with Robin Williams.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. I'm a senior in high school. And I grew up in the sticks of Northeast Texas, very small community, very rural. And the only thing we had for entertainment was to go drinking out in pastures. That's what we did. And we were out at someone's land, and we had been out there for about an hour or so, not very long, and a storm was coming in. We could see the lightning in the distance, so we were like, okay, we probably ought to disperse, everybody go home. Someone had left a styrofoam cup on the hood of my car, my truck, and they had said, oh, that's my strawberry daiquiri, you can have the rest of it. So I was like, okay, I don't have anything else to drink, and I'm 17, 18 years old. It's not like I have an abundance of selections. So I'm drinking it on the way home, and I get home, and I'm like, I'm feeling something. This is weird. And my parents, at the time, the house that we lived in growing up, we had these big, tall windows in kind of the living room area, and this lightning storm was just incredible. Lightning came in. So I went and got my disposable camera that I had in my room, and I'm sitting there on the living room floor looking out the sky going, click. Oh, there's another click. I go and get it developed, and I tell my friends. The next morning when I see my friends, like, I can't wait to pick up the film. Like, this is going to be amazing. And I get it, and I go, and it's black. Turns out someone had laced that daiquiri with shrooms.
Right.
You have good friends.
I know.
You're welcome.
The entire time, up until the time I got the film back, I thought, this is going to be great. Like, I have all these great photos of this lightning.
What if you were just too slow? You were like,
No, dude. It didn't happen. That's the
did it? But did it?
It didn't happen.
Maybe
it didn't, because
we'll
I
never know.
I asked my next door neighbor, and he said, no, I was outside too, and I didn't see any lightning. What are you talking about?
You were out of your mind, boy.
I didn't know what I was into. I didn't even know until it was happening.
Oh,
Good
goodness.
times. Good times.
I am all wrapped up in cables here. I really screwed up. I shouldn't have done that. What did I miss? Just say it all over.
It's
man.
just a great shroom story.
Yeah.
Shrooms and shooting photos of lightning that didn't exist. On a camera, disposable camera, waiting to get the film developed and being severely underwhelmed.
I've decided I need to create some of my own shroom stories, but we'll save that for another episode.
I'm here to sponsor you.
That's what I was counting on.
Wait, delete that. I don't want to incriminate myself.
Too late.
I have a reputation in the community.
You definitely do, and you're maintaining
You have a reputation.
every sentence that comes out of your mouth.
Hey, I'm a nice guy.
Kevin, I think you had asked how we had gotten started. You know, we each got started.
No, I asked that.
You asked that. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. And Nick, you had said I started in the same way. I wanted
Yeah.
weigh in on that as well. Started in the same way of in a dark room in high school.
Yeah.
And it's like this sort of a project is almost a culmination of a lifetime of work.
Yeah.
We both of us started as youths and worked in the traditional medium, got degrees, worked as assistants, moved up through that path, and have become, and we've always been professional photographers.
Yeah.
But then have become and gotten bigger and bigger clients. And so this project is like a representation of a lifetime of work.
Yeah.
The way that the next project will be a representation of a lifetime of work.
And that makes sense. Nobody just decides they're going to make a project like stepping off the couch and does something like this freaking documentary. So it's evident that there's years of experience, especially knowing how limited your staff was.
Right.
But I wanted to back up to the beginning. Darkroom, high school. Can we just acknowledge how awesome that is?
Yes.
Like, where did you go to high school?
I went to Flower Mound High School.
Yeah. I would argue that Flower Mound probably doesn't even do that anymore.
Man, I
You know?
hope. Do they not? I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
I'm
they
not-
do when my kids get there.
I'm not going to weigh in on
Yeah.
on what what I think about Flower Mound High School.
Yeah.
Being a graduate of it. What I can say is I was the first graduating class, and so it's just another example of luck. Luck has
Yeah.
followed me, followed us.
Yeah.
I've been very lucky in life.
Yeah.
And one of these situations was that I was part of the first graduating class of Flower Mound High School, and that provided a photography teacher my sophomore year.
Yeah.
And it was me and 3 other people in that class.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of one-on-one.
Yeah.
And that developed really well. And, you know.
I see what you did there. Developed very well. Yeah.
And I'm sure you guys can guess. I'm a creative kid. I didn't do well in college, in high school, in any sort of school. But you gave me a camera and you put me in the dark room and I ran with it.
Yeah.
You know, and she was the kind of teacher. Miss Jacobs was the kind of teacher who saw someone who could just run.
Yeah.
And that's what she gave me the room to do that.
Yeah.
And there's not a day that goes by that
Yeah.
I think about her and thank her for the opportunity to dive into this.
Has she seen the film?
I don't know where she is anymore.
Yeah.
I believe her last name has changed. And
Okay.
that would be rad, actually, to reach out and find
Yeah.
her. But we're also talking 30 years ago. I don't know.
Hey, I was your kid.
I'm sorry?
Just reach out and be like, hey, I was your kid in like the first year of the school.
I don't even know her name anymore.
Yeah.
I think she's remarried and.
I understand. I get it. I'm not gonna play that detective work.
Right, exactly.
I took photography. It took me college before we were shooting film, 35 mil, and developing and doing all that darkroom work and stuff. And I remember thinking, it's worth it to send this shit off.
It is a lot of work.
It is a
that's
lot
just
of work.
black and white. When
Yeah.
you turn into color,
Oh,
I worked in.
yeah. Then you got to
lab.
hire a color guy.
Oh my god.
Why is it anytime in a movie someone's developing film in a dark room, it's always black and white?
Because color's a pain in the ass, and there's no.
Now that you've mentioned that,
beauty to it.
yeah, but now that you mentioned that, I don't think I've ever actually seen someone in a darkroom developing
color all happens in this huge machine.
Yeah, you can't.
It's
You don't have.
on
You
site.
don't have the bins.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
okay,
don't have
that's
the-
why then.
you don't have
See,
the
I don't even
drama.
know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
You
color.
don't have the red light.
All right.
Yeah, it's got to be processed in pitch black.
You can tell I didn't take photography class as a visual arts major. I never took a photography class.
That's because you're much younger.
I'm gonna ask you guys a question because maybe this was just a me experience, and it was, quite frankly, I was extremely passionate about photography myself when I was a kid.
My feet pictures never turned out
And-
either.
I thought that was going to be my career somewhere down there. I thought I was going to be National Geographic photographer or something like that. And I started taking it seriously, space shuttle launches and a Johnny Cash concert and things like that.
Cool.
And my experience while I was doing those shoots was I was more wrapped up in the shoot than the subject. For me, that was the wake up moment. I don't want to be a photographer because I'm not experiencing these moments as moments. I'm trying to get the shot.
Man, that is so fascinating that you say that. My first job out of college was shooting sports. It was the Dallas Mavericks. And I would sit courtside shooting the Mavericks, and this one guy took me under his wing. I was like 20 years old. He took me under his wing, and he taught me the art of looking through the camera right here and using this eye to keep yourself grounded in the moment.
Okay.
So you're framing here, but you're keeping grounded here. Like I'm looking at Kevin, but my right eye is framing you up using the rule of thirds or the Fibonacci or whatever it is.
That's a serious skill.
It's
That's
a
not-
serious skill because you can get tunnel vision real fast.
And that's exactly what I got.
Real-
And it told me, but I didn't have a mentor like that.
Yeah.
And okay, anybody that's listening to this is my biggest takeaway of my entire adult life as an old man that should have learned this 50 years ago. If you're a mentor, be a mentor for somebody. If you don't know what you're doing, find a mentor. That's good I don't
advice.
care if you're 10 years old, 20 years old, 40 years old.
But the other thing is,
Rich is recruiting Caleb to be his mentor.
the other thing is, acknowledge that you can learn something from anybody. That is
True that.
One of the things, so in my job, I don't get to shoot. We hire photographers, so I don't. my knowledge is I have that separation, that cutoff of I don't need to know all that because we've got these professionals and we're going to let the people that know what they're doing. But one of the things I do have a lot of respect for is that, and you guys, maybe you can tell me I'm wrong, you don't just come out of college and you're immediately shooting catalogs.
No.
You've got to assist for someone for years.
yeah.
You have to earn your stripes and your skins on the wall in order to get to the position where you get, and that there's not a lot of, I'm sure there's a lot of trades, electrician and plumber and things like that, but that seems to be a lost expectation on a lot of careers where no, you're not going to do a lot of really good fun work when you first get out of college. You're going to do grunt work because that's how you learn
Right.
Yeah.
to get to that position. You don't just come out knowing everything.
Oh,
Absolutely.
I mean,
You
we
know-
were in the trenches for 8 years at
Yeah.
least, right? Yeah, you have
Yeah.
to.
And
You
we,
have to
we
do the
each
grunt
have
work.
degrees in stills, and you learn how to make a photograph, but you don't learn the industry. You don't learn set management. You don't learn just talking to a client or a
The
model
communication skills
Totally.
between you and your subject. Oh my gosh. You
How
can't teach
important
that.
Well,
lunch
are,
is.
also,
You have to learn.
are you just going out and shooting pretty pictures of birds and flowers, or is there actually a business goal
Right.
that you're trying to achieve? in the
They've
work that you're
proven
doing?
there's no business goal.
Oh, that's
There-
true.
Okay, on that
No,
note,
there's
guys,
no business goal.
I hate to cut us off, but we're long as it is. I feel like we could go on
Long, hard, and dirty.
long, hard, and dirty for a full weekend of debauchery.
Yeah.
And really, so I think we're going to recruit you guys for an episode 2 somewhere down the road as you get deeper into your next project. We'd love to hear more about it. Am I wrong along those lines?
You're not wrong.
I want to hear more, like, immediate.
I know. Leave them wanting more.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
would be happy to come back and
Yeah.
talk about our projects.
Thanks
and
for
guys.
talk
having
to you
us.
guys about anything.
Brad, what do we need to do?
Ride your bikes, boys.
Yes.